here's a game you've never heard of that's better than Kingdomino. Let's check it out. Welcome back to the Board Game Closet. My name's Jimmy. If you haven't subscribed to our YouTube channel yet, click the button and subscribe, and we'll bring you video reviews about board games, and we'll tell you if you should buy it, play it, or hate it. It's our simple one-die rating where we tell you if you should buy a game. Maybe you wouldn't buy it, but you definitely play it, or maybe you wouldn't play it because you hate it. That's our simple rating. And we'll tell you right up front whether or not we think that you should buy limes, hate limes, or just play limes. Now, I do have to apologize because this game, if you're in the US at least, you can't get it. I had to order this from Board Game Bliss. They're up in Canada. I'm not affiliated with them, and they didn't ask me to say that, but that's actually the only place I could find this game. But I got it shipped in and checked it out, and shout out to my friend Clay who told me about this game. And so I'm going to answer the question today: should you buy it, play it, or hate it? And then I'll spend the rest of my video review telling you why I gave it that rating. Limes gets a resounding double buy it rating from me. This gets a green. I think that you should buy this game and add it to your collection, especially if you're a fan of this guy, Kingdomino. Now that's really where this conversation came up. I was talking about how much I liked Kingdomino, and Clay said you needed to check out Limes. I couldn't find it, so I waited for a while, and I finally did pick it up, and now I'm glad that I did. And if you like Kingdomino, then you're probably going to like Limes, and let me tell you why. It's really similar, and maybe one of my first critiques that I'll give you about the game is that there's not much in the box. And considering I had to get it shipped in, and considering that this is just a two-player game, that's already a notch down from Kingdomino, but I still think it edges it out, in my mind at least. And here's why. Kingdomino plays where you just lay down tiles and you're just trying to connect similar types, right? So if it was in comparison, I'd be trying to get this blue to touch this blue, and then I would just add up how many blues do I have, multiply that by the crowns, and that's all that you do in Kingdomino. Well, Limes has a very similar feel in that you are trying to connect terrain types, but there's a little bit more. They introduce meeples into the game. And this is why I really like the game. And this is why it gets the buy it, play it, or the buy it rating from me, is because I can sit across from my wife and we can sit and play this game. It plays really quickly, like 20 minutes, but there's a few interesting choices that you get to make along the way. There are two decks in the game, one for each player. One deck is placed face up and is in numerical order. The other deck is randomized, and you get to shuffle this deck. That person is considered the starting player, and they're going to tell the other player what the card is for that round. So they'll reveal a card. This time it's number 4. This player goes through and they reveal card number 4. This is our starting tile. The starting player again draws another card, and they say, okay, it's number 22. So the other player gets number 22 out, and then they start to decide where they want to place this tile. Now you can place it anywhere as long as it's vertical or horizontal. You can't do a diagonal, but as long as it's sharing a face, then you can place that card out any way that you want, in any orientation that you want. So you can rotate this puppy however that you want. And then you get the option. You can either place a meeple on the tile that you just played, or you can move a previously played meeple. So that's all you do. Place a tile, place a meeple. That's it. The game is going to continue with the starting player revealing a new card and the players placing them onto the board. And it plays until you get a 4x4 grid. So you're going to have 16 cards, but you only have 7 meeples that you're going to be placing out along the way. Let me show you some examples of how the scoring works. First thing that you have is the farmer, and the farmer is probably the simplest way to score. You're just going to place the farmer into a field and count the number of squares that are touching each other, just like Kingdomino, only there's no multiplier. It's just 1, 2, 3. I get 3 points. That's it. The second place that you can put a meeple is into the river, and he becomes a fisherman. And now you're going to be counting the number of shacks or buildings that are adjacent to the water. So they have these little buildings on each one of the squares, and they face different directions. And if it is facing a water where your meeple is at, then you get to count that. You just go around and you say, okay, 4, 5, 6 buildings. That means I get 6 points for my fisherman. The next one is the woods. And so you are going to place a meeple into a wooded area and then count the number of squares that are adjacent to the wood. So instead of counting the woods, you count the squares that are adjacent to the woods. And so that's pretty cool because now you get to count all the way around. So if you place your woods right in the middle of your board, or maybe it splits your board in half, then you get to count all of these squares that go around it. And then the last one is the watchtower, and this might be the most confusing, but it's really not that bad. You place a meeple into the watchtower, and then you go down in a line, either forward, like vertical or horizontal, and you look at how many woods that they see in that line. And so you just count that up. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That's how many points he gets. The only catch to that is if there is another watchtower in his way, then that blocks his view, and any woods that are beyond that he can't see. 4 ways to score points. You add them up at the end, and then that's it. The addition is pretty easy. There's nothing that's really confusing about the scoring, but there are some fun decisions to be made, and you do have that exciting moment of what's the next card? Oh, that's not what I needed. That is what I needed. You have one of those kinds of moments. Now, is this a Kingdomino killer? I don't know. There's a couple hindrances that this has to Kingdomino. Number one is it's hard to get, right? You can't find this game, so you're going to have to order this from some other place. If it had great wide distribution in the US or abroad, maybe this would be a more popular game. I like that it is a step above. So if you've played a lot of Kingdomino, then I think that this could be the next step for you. And you say, Kingdomino is okay. I like the terrain things, but I wanted a little bit more. You need to check out Limes. Now, another negative to this game in comparison to Kingdomino is you can only play 2 people. So if you wanted to play more than this, they tell you in the rules that you can. You just got to get a second copy of the game. And in theory, they say you could play with even more than that. And that's awesome, and I really, really want to try that, but it's a negative because I got to buy another copy of this game that's hard to find. And so I don't know if I'm going to be doing that. So this one is probably going to stick to just a 2-player game for me, and that gives it a knock against Kingdomino. So I don't think it's going to kill Kingdomino or replace it, but for me, if I had a choice between just Kingdomino and Limes, I'm probably going to pick Limes from now on. Now, I haven't played Queendomino, so I don't know what that's like. So it's on order. Come on, pre-order. Get here as quick as you can. But it's on pre-order, so I haven't played Queendomino. So I'm going to come back at some point and do a comparison of Kingdomino versus Queendomino versus Limes, and I'll tell you what I think. So, all right, so let me know in the comments. Let me know if you like the idea of the tiles with the meeples and the simple scoring. Tell me about it in the comments. I would love to know what you think. So, as always, support your local hobby shop, and thanks for watching The Board Game Closet.